Welcome to Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. I am Kristen Kozlowski, joined by former volleyball standouts Alex Jean Glover and Amy Gant. Over the next 3 hours, we are going to dive right in and break down the preseason polls for you, talk to coaches and players, and highlight what makes Big 12 volleyball one of the top premier conferences in the nation. Well, let's get to it, ladies. I am super excited. We're just a couple weeks away from first match. I want to hear what you are most excited about for the 2025 season.
I'm excited for the preseason games. A lot of these teams have scheduled so aggressively. That means that they're going to have the chance to be in that top rankings in the top 25 really, really early, which means in regular season they're going to come in, and I think there's going to be a lot of upsets, so that's going to give the chance for a lot of the other teams in the league who maybe didn't schedule as aggressively as the Kansas and the Kansas State to be ranked as well. So I'm super excited to see the parity of the league.
Yeah, I think it speaks to how tough this league is, because sometimes you have teams that, let's go a little easier in the preseason so we can really shine during conference. But I think, to your point, these teams know they've got to be prepared, and they've got to be prepared really quickly. And so the best way to do that is to play the best in the preseason.
And we saw how that carried over last season in 2024 into the NCAA tournament. 6 teams making the NCAA tournament. Arizona State, the newcomer coming in, winning the Big 12. How much do you think that helped them as they entered into the NCAA championships?
Well, I think a lot of that, when you get into the tournament play, conference prepares you for that, and you want to be ready. And I think what's great about the Big 12 is day in, day out, night in, you've got to be at your top, at your best game. And as you head into the tournament at the end of the year, that's what you've got to be as well. So I think the Big 12, if you can survive the conference, then you're pretty set up for the tournament.
I love it.
And I think that's what I was so interested to see was them scheduling so hard in that preseason schedule, because we know that the conference is extremely aggressive. We know when they go into the conference play, there's going to be no nights off. So starting from the day one and having a preseason schedule and then a regular season schedule, Big 12 is going to be ready for the national championship.
For sure. Well, let's get to it. The Big 12 preseason poll and awards that were released earlier today. BYU was chosen as the favorite to win the conference with 6 first-place votes, followed by Kansas and Arizona State, your reigning Big 12 2024 champs. All right, Alex, what sticks out to you as we take a look at the preseason poll?
Honestly, the top 5 teams that are receiving votes for first, that just shows how competitive the league is. We normally don't see that. We see favorites, and I mean right now it's BYU, with them also having the preseason player of the year and the preseason freshman of the year. Obviously, they're going to be number 1, but then we've got Kansas, Arizona State, Utah, and TCU who are also receiving votes.
Well, and I think so much with that parity, especially at the top, you have those teams battling it out. It's different when you only play a team once. Maybe you play them twice. It's very different depending on the season that you're looking at. And so when you have the chance, I mean, last year you look at BYU, Kansas, the top 2 teams, they only played each other one time. So you have to be ready when the time comes, and you have to know that every match really matters for that ranking and to survive in the Big 12, which right now you see with all those teams getting votes, nobody knows what's going to happen. There is no clear favorite, and everyone has got to be ready.
Well, and as we look at that list, is there anybody that is maybe your dark horse that maybe on the bottom half that should be getting more attention or will once the season hits?
Well, I think, you look, obviously that top 6, everybody knows, but Kansas State, right there around the middle of the pack, are very interesting to me for 2 reasons. They had a rough season last year with a lot of unlucky injuries, and they just missed making the tournament. So they really feel like they've got something to prove coming into this season. They also really didn't make a lot of changes in the transfer portal. No transfers in or out. They've got a lot of newcomers, but they really have a steady core that I think from day one is going to be ready to play together, because so much culture, it has to be developed over time. And if Kansas State's ready to rock from the get-go, they could surprise a lot of teams.
One to watch, absolutely. What about for you, Alex? Is there a dark horse that you're keeping your eye on and going to be watching for them to upset some teams?
TCU is my dark horse, hands down. They were picked 5th in the preseason poll, and they even grabbed a first-place vote, which tells you how much respect this team is getting, and they're starting to get to earn across the league. We have head coach Jason Williams, who has built something really promising in Fort Worth. They returned Jalen Gibson, a preseason All-Big 12 selection, who's been one of the most dynamic outside hitters in the conference. They finished 5th last year, solid in an ultra-competitive Big 12. And with how their culture has evolved under Williams, I could see them pushing into that top 3 conversation if they stay healthy and find that rhythm early.
Now let's take a look at the all-preseason awards. First, starting at the top with BYU's Claire Little-Chambers, who's going to take away the preseason Player of the Year. She was a 2024 Big 12 first-team all-conference selection. She's already on the ABCA watch list for Player of the Year, or an all-honorable mention last year. But this is a player that comes in. She's very talented. A utility player, can be used in a lot of different situations. What do you like about her game, Amy?
So much. You talk about a lot of different situations. You've got to be well-rounded, right? When you are that go-to pin on a team, you've got to have every single shot. You've got to have all the tools in the belt. You've got to be able to pass and serve and play defense. And Little-Chambers does that. But also, I think where she shines is on those out-of-system plays. You know, when everyone in the gym knows the ball is going to go to that outside hitter, and the defense has time to set up, and the block has time to set up, Claire Little-Chambers is at her best, which is amazing. That takes so much pressure off of the team. They don't have to be perfect to get a kill because Little-Chambers is going to bail them out.
Her game IQ is just so impressive. Like you were saying, her out-of-system attacks are so well, but she just shows up in the big moments every single time. She's so impactful, she's consistent, she's someone that BYU can really look to get that kill in any moment.
She finished third in the Big 12 in kills per set and points per set, so we will be watching closely in what she can do. And now as we move to the Freshman of the Year chosen in the Big 12, it's going to stay with BYU again in Sully Davis, a talented young player coming in. She's got a lot of international under her belt even this summer that's really preparing her. What about her game, Alex, that are you keeping your eye on?
Well, like we just talked about Claire Little-Chambers, if she's coming up behind her and watching some of the things she does in practice, she is going to be impeccable. She already has a strong arm, so just being able to kind of tweak her game from that younger game into the collegiate game is going to be so important just because the college game is so much faster. She's going to have to learn how to find some different tools, roles, different shots. If she can work on that in the preseason, I think she's going to be A-okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Learning, going D1 from high school, it is a huge learning curve. But Sully Davis has so much time under her belt playing in the international level. She's played on the U19 team for the past 2 summers. So if anyone is prepared, she is. But like you said, it is just really tough for these freshmen to come in and make an impact. I think what helps her is that she does have a team around her. This BYU team was a lot of freshmen last season, and now they're a little bit older, a little more comfortable, so Sully Davis can come in and make an impact without maybe having to take on a huge load right away.
Playing with the USA U19 national team and winning a silver in the World Championship, I'm sure is going to help. She was voted as the top outside hitter. Let's transition now to the preseason team and look at some of the other talent across the league. And as we bring this up, I want to get your opinion because 6 of these players were unanimous as well as 2024 Big 12 first team selections. We also got a lot of youth in here. So Amy, as you look at this list, anyone that surprises you?
Well, I don't know about surprising. I think what's interesting is that with so many transfers in the portal, we're going to see a lot of players that maybe we didn't know at the beginning that end up at the end. I'm looking at only 2 setters on this list, and they're both sophomores. So you have Alex Bauer and Kristen Klein. They set their teams last season, and they really did a nice job with, like we talked about earlier, that mental load. I mean, it's big on an outside, but it's huge on a setter. You've got to be running the floor. You've got to find your hitters. You've got to know everything about them. And both these players did such an excellent job. As sophomores now, they've got to be a little more comfortable in their groove, and they can kind of get that going. So look for them. You know, obviously, for Kansas also, another sophomore, Reese Patek, incredible job working her way into the lineup on a very good Kansas team. And she's such a dynamic middle blocker, runs one of the best slides in the country, and she's long and lean, and I think just continues to get better and better. So I'm really interested in watching how her game continues to evolve over the course of this season.
For BYU, also Brielle Camabor makes the list. You got some talented middle blockers. You already talked about Patak, but when you watch Camabor play, what do you like about what she does in that middle and how she's anchoring the net?
She changes the game completely. Having someone who can just get positive touches on the ball, deflect something off of those hard hitters. There's so many pins on this list. Just being able to deflect that or get a stuffed block changes the game completely. She's also got a fast arm. She's able to tweak it both ways. And you can see her reach here. If the ball is a little bit off, she's able to go up and even just get a touch on it. go over the block and get that kill.
I think that's a good point with Kemavor. Also, like you said, when you've got that dominant player in the middle, the opposing team has to completely readjust their offense. Kemavor is a player where you don't want to run right at her because she will block you every time. So you've got to adjust. They've got to rethink their game because Kemavor just so solid in the middle. She's a huge block, and her eye work and her choices got so much better over the past season. It's really exciting to see what she'll do in this next season.
And as we look at a few of the players on the back row, I want to ask you about Faith Frame out of Arizona State, the libero. She was an all-rookie team last year, but how important is that ball control and having players with that experience? Yes, she's just a sophomore this season, but a lot of experience that she gained last year.
Well, I think to your point, first contact, most important thing. If you can't pass, you can't play. And so to stay and ensure that your team is continually finding a way to run the offense that they've trained for, that first contact, and especially that libero in the back row whose job it is to kind of round out the defense and run the show in the back row. And another, I think, point that's going to be so important looking at that defense in those passing lanes, and we've talked about it earlier, is with so many new players coming into the league and on these new teams, passing becomes critical because there's a comfort level. You know, you pass next to someone for years, you know how that works. These teams have got to figure out that comfort really quick because you're passing next to new people, and it's up to those liberos to really figure out and nail that down and run the show.
And Alex, that's probably one of the biggest challenges that a lot of these teams face is because you have to revamp your roster every single season. That's the landscape of college volleyball right now, is you're going to get transfers, you're going to get new players, new coaches. We've seen coaching changes with a few teams. So how do you quickly develop that chemistry and get everybody on the same page with the culture?
Chemistry can absolutely make or break a team. You have a lot of new players coming in, and then for some of these teams, new coaches who are bringing a whole new coaching staff, whole new players from their old universities, which can be hard for the players who are actually staying at these universities to adjust to. You've got different cultures coming in. So I think it starts at the top. It starts with the coaching staff, instilling that they need everyone bought in from day one for this thing to work.
Well, let's take a break. We got one of those new coaches coming up in Matt Ulmer of Kansas. He will be joined by Reese Patak, an outstanding young player in the Big 12. As we come back, we'll have more to preview Kansas volleyball.
Our football coverage will be greater than ever before thanks to this new partnership with TuneIn Radio.
Big 12 Radio. Big 12 Radio.
This is phenomenal.
Big 12 Radio on TuneIn.
These great teams come together, man. It's gonna be exciting.
I'm excited, ready to get this season going.
Hey, it's our executive James Westling from the Big 12 Today studio.
I'm Commissioner Yormark, and you're listening to Big 12 Radio on TuneIn.
It's amazing what people can accomplish. Not just me, anybody. There's tons of people who have been successful by just not giving up, not quitting, just having a good attitude and just going to work.
How hard we worked. It's credit to those guys who put in work day in and day out.
You're listening to Big 12 Radio on TuneIn.
There's gonna come a time where the Rabbit gonna have a gun too. Rabbit ain't had no gun last year. Rabbit gonna have a gun too, man.
Hey, it's our executive James Westling, Big 12 Radio. What a big couple of weeks this is for the Big 12.
Now that we have year one under our belt, it's not so new anymore. Last year was uncharted territory.
What's next?
Big 12 Radio.
We brought teams in that have had recent success to sell out their stadiums, being in the new league.
I think that you might mess around and see Kansas in the Sweet 16.
The latest in insights, information on all the best teams in the Big 12.
Interviews with players, coaches, the commish, and we'll get Rachel's expert analysis.
This is the Big 12 Radio on TuneIn.
NCAA athletes don't just compete, they make history. Representing our nation with pride and excellence, they bring home the hardware. Our college campuses serve as training grounds for the next generation of stars. Catch tomorrow's Olympians and Paralympians on the NCAA Championship stage today.
Welcome back to Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. As we jump right in, talking with these teams and coaches is really what we're most excited about. After a fantastic run at Oregon, leading the Ducks to 3 straight top 10 finishes and back-to-back Elite 8 appearances, he now brings that winning pedigree to Lawrence, Kansas, taking over for legendary coach Ray Bouchard after his 27-year tenure. Please welcome the head coach of Kansas, the Jayhawks, Matt Ulmer, who will now be joining us. Hi, Coach. How are you?
Hey, how are we doing? Thanks for having me.
Oh, we are so excited to get right to it with you and this program and the transition that you've had going back to January. But talk about how that's been. How has this transition been? And as you try to really revamp some of this team, even though you've got a core leadership and some core experience coming back, what's that been like for you?
A lot of change. Just from the family side, getting everybody moved here and learning everybody's names on the team and then seeing what we got in practice and trying to, plug in place, kind of where I felt like we needed to grow. So it's been a really fun process. The group here is awesome. They've treated myself, the staff, our family really well. Community has been amazing. We feel really welcomed, really loved, really wanted. And we're just really excited to go. We're going to give Lawrence and every Jayhawk everything we got to have a great first season.
Coach, you've talked about all the changes that have been going on. What have you learned about this group early on in this preseason, despite having those changes?
They have a strong desire. I mean, they want to be really good. I think a lot of the players on the team, they didn't have a lot of playing time, the past couple of years because such a strong group just graduated from Kansas. So they're chomping at the bit. They're ready for their time, and they're working really hard. They're giving everything they can each and every day, and so it just makes it really a joy to coach.
Coach, you've talked before, changes, but then you brought in a ton of different people, and so that's kind of a challenge for you as well. You talked earlier about really feeling like your ball control was there, but you wanted to add a few more pieces as far as being more terminal and in the blocking lanes. Can you talk about some of those new pieces joining you and how they might answer those questions?
Yeah, I think what we try to do is we try to bring in somebody in each position, to add to depth, add to competitiveness in the gym. The best teams I've coached, our practices have been harder than most games. So trying to replicate that here as quickly as we could, which was tough because the transfer portal was pretty much done by the time we got the job here. So we looked international, and we brought in 3 new international players, one from Croatia, one from Slovenia, one from Serbia, and middle Aurora Papac and Jovana Zelinovic from Serbia, and then Selena Liban from Slovenia. Really high caliber, experienced players, have a lot of game, a lot of savvy on the court. We just did a team retreat, getting to know them better. They're excited to be around the team and to be in this environment. Ryan White transferred from Oregon State. She was going to transfer to Oregon before we left, and so she came with us. And same thing, a lot of experience there, grad transfer, along with Audra Wilmis from Washington, grad transfer. So I think just making us a little bit older, a little bit more mature in the gym. Then Chris Klein obviously came with. And then Logan Bell is the one true freshman as far as 18 years old that we have in the group. And she's not a normal freshman. She's a pretty tough freshman. Again, a lot of international experience for her, and Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Indiana, and just someone that can do it all. So I feel like we have a really great group of 7 that complements the group of 9 to 12 that we had. So a roster of 19 that I think is really ready to go.
Coach, as we're talking about the skill of some of these players, the transfers and the freshmen coming in, where do you think you still have room to grow, or what traits are you looking to still instill in this year 1?
I mean, we have a long way to go in everything right now, so I'm excited for practice each and every day because I know we can grow a lot. But, again, just getting to know each other, I think, is a big part, on and off the court. I think our connections offensively, we need as much time as we can get, and we don't have much, so we'll try to be as efficient with that as possible. We're trying to run a decent tempo, which I think makes sense for us out of the back row and to the left. So that requires some time and some vulnerability. So I think, that's coming along each and every day, but we're putting a lot of time there. Yeah, I think we're a pretty good passing team. As far as ball control goes, I think we'll be one of the better teams in the country in that. Blocking, we have a long way to go in that. And I think just scoring out a system, we're going to need to grow. So we were able to play Nebraska at the end of spring, in a really great environment there. I think that showed us a lot, showed us what we're doing well and what we need to work on. I think that was really great timing for us in the group. So I think we're just trying to go from there and continually getting better.
Coach Matt Ulmer with us on Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. Coach, I did want to ask you about your schedule and the challenging non-conference schedule you have. Out of the gates, you're going to be taking on Penn State, the 2024 reigning national champion. And so how important is that for this team? And what's it going to tell you about the gauntlet that you really have scheduled coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's what we're trying to do here. You know, we're coming to Kansas to try to win championships. And so for us, we need to be put in situations where this is what it looks like, you know, to be in the Final Four, which is in Kansas City this year. You know, so we're going to go play in front of 15,000 people in Lincoln and in Madison. Hopefully that sells out and, you know, be able to be in those types of matches. I think it's really important for us. It's a reason why we went to Nebraska in the spring as well, because that was sold out as well. And just to be in those environments, you know, get that experience, you know, really try to raise the standards of what we're trying to do to a person here. And again, I think so far we're responding to it, but the schedule is challenging. It is intentional, and we're going to learn a lot about ourselves in the non-con.
Well, I think also what's interesting, you start out with Vanderbilt. You know, like how often at this level do we get a team in their inaugural season and you're the first match? How important was it to you to experience this, and what does it mean for the growth of volleyball?
Well, we want to be involved in First Serve. You know, watching that last year in week 0, I thought that was fantastic. What a great event. You know, again, I think it says a lot about the program that we get an invitation like that. I think we're, you know, close enough to Lincoln where we can have a lot of Jayhawk fans show up and show their support. And, yeah, playing Vanderbilt, I think is great. Anders is doing a great job there. I think they're going to have a really successful first season, which is impressive and just tells you how good their staff is and the players that they've been able to bring in there. So I think it'll be a great first match for us. Our first match, you know, as a staff and a new team, and theirs as a program. So looking forward to that. And then, yeah, we go right into Penn State, national champs, and the coach of the year. So we're looking forward to that first weekend.
Coach, y'all got 4 first-place votes in the preseason poll. What is your message to the team about balancing that confidence but still having the hunger?
No, I just think everything's part of the process for us. You know, we're really just trying to get better every day. We're trying to learn each other better every day and what our culture is and who we're trying to be and what it's going to take to get there. I think anytime you get awards, that's nice, you know, but for sure, you know, we haven't done anything to earn that at this moment. So, you know, we're going to try to keep getting better each and every day. And you know, our goal is to play deep into December. That's what we're trying to do. So, you know, I think we have a lot of good pieces to get there. And so if we work hard and, you know, we trust our process and we show up every day, we'll have a chance.
And for you, Coach, figuring out, you know, bringing that huge success at Oregon, but what does it mean to be on the floor right now for Kansas? What are you looking for in who is going to start and who's going to be those players for you?
Well, I think there's so much great competition in the gym. I can honestly say this is the first time I'm not really sure in a lot of positions of what's going to happen. And that tells me that, you know, hopefully we can keep that competition going throughout the whole year. I think that will make us our strongest. And it might change. You know, again, I think we have a lot of really great depth. And we have some pieces that will probably take some time, you know, to become their best selves. And hopefully they just keep pushing each other to get better every day and so that our team gets better every day.
When taking over this program, you didn't take over a program that necessarily was in a losing season a year ago, but you take over a program that's pretty established for Coach Ray Bouchard. How involved has he been in the process with you as you transition, and how much are you leaning on him?
Yeah, I mean, Ray is one of the best we've ever had, right, in our sport, and definitely one of the good people. And he's been great. I mean, really has made this very seamless for me and for the staff. I try to leave him alone because I think he wants to enjoy retirement, but we've also had communication. We've had lunches, and he's definitely someone that I can reach out to whenever. He's made that very clear, and he gets back to me right away. So, no, he's been a friend. He's been really helpful in this process to make it as smooth as possible. And he has season tickets. I know where he's sitting. I'll be looking at him for advice as we're going through, you know, the best we can. But I definitely think he's someone I can lean on.
Other than the wins and losses, what would you say would be a successful season come November for Kansas volleyball?
That's a great question. I would say it's, you know, again, I don't know how you judge it, but us becoming our best selves. I would say, you know, how do we come together as a group? Like we said, there's a ton of change. I think that's the thing that frightens me the most is just how much different it is, even though it's the same place and a lot of the same people. You know, just, you know, how I communicate, how we communicate together. I mean, just every little thing is different. So how quickly can we bring that together? Can we find passion and joy the whole way through? And something I take pride in is that we're playing our best volleyball at the end. So I would say for us, can we be tough enough to go get in an environment in December that we're playing our best ball And the wins and losses will take care of themselves, like you said. But can we get in that moment and can we be tough in that?
And obviously coaching at a high level in the Pac-12, but moving to the Big 12 and it being your inaugural season, where do you think the focus, what is it going to take to be successful in this kind of conference? And what are you telling these players on how they need to train so that, like you said, you're there at the end of November and going into December?
Yeah, I mean, this is my third conference in 3 years, Pac-12, Big 10, now Big 12, which I'm not sure how I feel about that, but that is what it is. I think at the end of the day, it's about volleyball. I mean, it's about people. Can we create, the best habits possible that we can so that we can be successful? The style of play that we want to play, how close can we get there to perfecting that? We've played a lot of Big 12 teams in the past few years at Oregon, whether that was in playoffs or, with Utah, Arizona State, Colorado coming over, and then Jen Greeny, obviously, at West Virginia. So pretty comfortable with a handful of the teams. So I have a style there. But no, I mean, there's going to be a lot of new. I haven't been to a lot of these schools before personally. Our staff hasn't either. I'm looking forward to that travel. Just getting to know all these towns and their communities. But just really looking forward to it. And I think for us on our side, it's just about, us becoming the best volleyball team we can become. And, no matter who we're playing, that will give us our best result.
Well, Coach Omer, thank you so much for taking time to join us here on Big 12 Media Days. We look forward to seeing your team compete. Best of luck this season.
Thanks for doing this, you guys. Rock chalk.
Love it. Well, the Kansas Jayhawks are in great hands with Matt Omer and what he's bringing to the table. You never love to see a coach that obviously has been there a long time in Ray Bouchard. His 27-year tenure did fantastic with Kansas, but the Jayhawks are in good hands, Amy.
I think so, and I think it speaks to how he is as a coach, that he had so many players follow him and come with him. Just the great culture and the high level. It's going to be exciting to watch Kansas.
And you can see seventh head coach program history places Ray Bouchard after 27 years. He was the youngest NCAA coach to win a national championship with Beach at Long Beach State. And how important is that, carrying that into not only as you go into the Big 12 because you're playing tough matches, but also into the postseason play?
He has the experience, and like we heard him say, this is his third conference in 3 years. Something about it, something about his coaching staff, he's been able to cultivate a culture of these players, of getting them bought in early because he's been successful at each one of those programs. You can really tell that he has a recipe that has worked, not even instilling it in just the coaches, but also the players, to making sure that when that first whistle is blown, that they're all bought in and ready to win.
Yeah, and I think bringing in all these different players from overseas. Also, you have Coach Matt Worley, who was 2 years ago the men's national when he was coaching at Grand Canyon on the men's side. So bringing him in as well, there's a lot of incredible pieces that can have insight. I think this Kansas team is going to be well coached, and they are very talented, and they're going to be tough to beat.
Well, up next, it's Reese Patak, the breakout sophomore middle blocker for the Jayhawks. She was named the Big 12 Freshman of the Year last season, earned first-team All-Big 12 honors, an incredibly rare feat. And this year, she steps into an even bigger leadership role at the net. Reese, welcome to the Big 12 Media Days. We are so excited to talk to you, talk about your off-season. Hello. Tell us about how your off-season has been and the focus for you, not only individually, but also this team.
I'd say just the biggest thing we've all focused on, and me specifically, is just how much can we continue to push this roster and push our limits and push this team. Like Matt was saying earlier, like, we have the pieces, but how far are we willing to push ourselves to continue to get to where we want to be? So I think that's just kind of been the biggest thing for me, and just continuing to grow as a team, grow our connections, grow our friendships, because I think the more we grow together off the court will allow us to grow better on the court. So, yeah.
Full coaching transition in the off season, as well as a lot of new pieces coming in players-wise. How has that transition been just with the adjustment?
Yeah, I mean, so far it's been great. Especially, I'm very glad that we had the opportunity to go on the team retreat we just went on this last weekend. And like I said, getting to know these girls, getting to know their personal lives, and especially for our 3 newest foreign girls, getting to know their families, their personal lives, what kind of makes them go day to day. I think that's really been important in allowing them to trust us and us to trust them. And that goes for even with Chris, Ryan, Logan, Audra, like all of the new girls, and continuing to grow the relationships like I might have already had with the girls that were already here. So yeah, just getting to be good friends.
It is nice to get outside of the volleyball court. So I want to know what you learned about these players, and especially your coach, seeing them in a different light. There were a lot of different activities you guys did, a lot of different things going on. So what did you find out?
Yeah, I mean, just I mean, our coaching staff, they are great people off the court. I mean, the way that they talk about their families, the way that they talk about their personal lives, like it makes you want to be a part of that life, if that makes sense. And like, I have so much respect for all the coaches and the ways that they run their lives. And I mean, like the ability for them to trust us to like babysit their kids and hang out with them in their free time. I think that speaks a lot to them. And with the girls, it's just about like, what do they love to do in their free time? And how can I keep being with them and keep spending time with them, the things that they love, and kind of building that bond between us. And I mean, especially we went swimming a lot this weekend. And so I think that just getting to see each other in an environment you're not used to seeing them maybe in, that was just great for team chemistry.
Reese, you have a challenging schedule coming up. So I want to get your thoughts on the schedule and some of these big schools that you're going to be playing. Obviously, Kansas carries that as well in and of itself. But what match are you most looking forward to? Is there any on the calendar that you have circled this season?
Personally, I am very excited for the Wisconsin game. I'm very excited to play in Madison in the Kohl Center. Like, I think that's going to be such a great experience for me. I mean, growing up, being from Wisconsin, like I remember my dad coached a high school basketball team and we won state in that arena, or we played in state in Kohl's. And so it's like, I feel like that'd be super cool, like nostalgic wise, but also, I mean, playing the Penn States, the Vanderbilts, and I mean, the Creighton again, like I'm very excited for this preseason and just to continue on a conference, playing all these teams again, seeing how it was last year, but I'm ready for kind of that new switch. What do we got going this year now? So yeah.
Well, I think last season you had a breakout year, you know, only a freshman, such an incredible job. And really going into this offseason, coming in to your sophomore season to carry that bigger load, what have you done to raise your game to take that to the next level?
Just continue to push myself. I think for me, it's been what more can I continue to do for my teammates? And it's doing the films outside of practice, doing the little things outside, making sure when I'm in the weight room, I'm really focused on, can I continue to build myself, jump higher? Can I lift more weights? Can I get stronger? And I think those parts really will help key into the actual volleyball game part. But then with volleyball, just can I continue to reach out to my teammates? Can I continue to, like I keep saying, build those bonds? Because I think those bonds, when they start to build bigger, we'll be able to talk more, be more effective with communication, and just be able to merge more as a group. And I think that has been really, really important for me.
Reese, thank you for taking the time to join us. We are so excited to see you out on the court this season.
Thank you.
That was Kansas volleyball, and boy, we're excited to see what they can do this season. But now we got to turn to Utah. Utah is coming up next. We're going to take a break here in just a moment. We will talk to Beth Lanier of Utah and their star Cameron Gabaldo coming up.
Welcome to Inside the 12. Said it, storylines and stars. Hollywood couldn't write a better script.
But not many can guard it the way that Houston does on the defensive side. Let's take a look. I cannot wait for that one. That one's going to be absolutely elite.
You cannot go wrong with the armadillo assassin. We all know that, right? The stakes could not be any higher.
There's losing, and then there's being the loser. Game time comes with enough pressure. Way too often, people are betting on sports, losing, and taking it out on the athletes. Only a loser would harass college athletes after losing a bet. But it happens almost every day. Root for your team. Get crazy when the buzzer sounds. But don't harass anyone because you lost a bet. It's time we draw the line and put an end to the abuse. Brought to you by the NCAA.
Welcome back into Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. And now joining us, the Utah women's volleyball team. This is one of the most respected names in all of college volleyball. She's been at the heart of Utah volleyball for decades, consistently developing elite talent, building competitive teams year after year. And this season, she leads a group full of returning all Big 12 performers, exciting newcomers, and one of the most nationally experienced off seasons we've seen across the conference. Please welcome Utah head coach Beth Lanier. She's also joined by Cameron Gabadlo, one of the standouts on this group. Thanks for joining us, Cameron and Coach Lanier.
Well, we're happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Well, you graduated, a big group of experienced, important seniors. Coach, what can you tell us about the makeup of this year's team, the mentality and chemistry going into 2025?
Yeah, it's an interesting team in terms of the realization that we did lose so many seniors last year, but we actually have a lot of talent returning. And I think that's the kind of the conundrum of our team is we really do have a lot of talent returning and a lot of players with good experience. I think the key is that they're going to be going into some different roles, some different leadership roles and, taking on some different responsibilities that way. But, we have Cameron Gabadlo returning as an all Big 12 player. We have Emery Satualo returning. We have Izzy Marco, who was on the Big 12 all freshman team. And we've got a couple really nice transfers in. And so we feel like we have a good amount of talent, but it's going to take a minute, I think, for us to, make some decisions and just get it all put together. But we're excited. I'm loving the makeup of this team, and it's really an intriguing team to, watch from start to finish. I think we're going to be a really different team later on, and I'm excited about it.
Well, Gibby, welcome also, and you're coming off a big summer of volleyball as well. Talking about last season where you just made these incredible jumps in your game and really became a big load bearer on this team. What have you done in the off season, and then how did your summer with the national team help you develop different skills that you can take into this next season?
Yeah, in the offseason, the coaches really pushed me to take on a bigger role in the team, more of a leadership role. And obviously that was a little challenging at first, but that really allowed me to grow and develop as a player and kind of allowed me to take more balls, be more confident, kind of take control of the court. This summer was awesome. I got to compete with some of the best players in the NCAA. Awesome, amazing experience. Got to be coached by some of the best coaches as well. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about how to compete at a high level, and I'm definitely taking a lot of lessons in the season.
Coach, you talk about how you had a lot of graduating seniors, but how you also, on the other hand, have a lot of experience that's still here with the addition of some newcomers coming in. How have you in the gym been able to focus on just that transition through some new pieces coming in?
Yeah, we're actually taking it really slow, to be honest with you. We really wanted to make sure that we set the right foundation with the young players and that everybody was on the same page. So we went ahead and started, early because we knew we had a lot of new players in the gym, and we've just been going over all the fundamentals, all the system fundamentals, individual fundamentals. And I think that's the right way to go. We're gonna have to start cranking it up a little bit, but it's always a good refresher for the returners as well to make sure we have a good foundation set. So the gym's been really productive and they've been working hard, and I think we're getting a lot accomplished.
Gibby, with so many changes, we talked about some of the returners coming back, but a lot of changes every single year. So what goes into how you can aid in the leadership and that continuity and chemistry with so many fresh faces on the team? What have you done to step up that leadership role?
Yeah, I think a big thing with our team, especially with all of our newcomers, is just kind of setting the standard that we need to get after every practice, setting a high standard. And I think a lot of the returners have really keyed into that as well. I mean, obviously, I've been challenged to kind of set that at the beginning of every practice, but I think our returners are doing a great job of that as well. And our newcomers, they're coming in and they're really hungry. They're ready to get down to business. So that's really awesome to have on the team.
Beth, entering your second season with the Big 12, last season finishing third, pretty impressive. But what did you learn last year that you'll take into this year about what it takes?
It's a strong conference. I think, honestly, I think this year, even more than last year, from top to bottom, I think it's going to be strong. It was very interesting, having to go to new facilities and new cities, and there's a learning curve on that. And we have the same thing this year, right? The places we go this year, we weren't at last year. We had them at home. So, we just have to make sure that we're doing a great job with our preparation, both with just our travel logistics, going to new places, but also really understanding these teams and, doing a great job with our scouting plan. And when you're in a conference for a long time, those players and those coaches really well. And that's not the case yet, I think, in the Big 12. And so we're still, I think, in a learning mode of, what it takes to be successful in this league. And I just think it's a strong league. And I think the top half is especially strong. There was a lot of graduating seniors across the board last year. So I think in general, maybe a little bit young. So I think it's going to be an exciting year. I think I don't know how to predict what's going to happen this year. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Gibby, congrats on being selected for the Big 12 preseason team. How do you handle those expectations while still staying grounded and focused at the same time?
First of all, thank you. I definitely have wrestled with that, but I think just having confidence within myself that I'm a great player, I know how to pass, set, hit the ball, like just having confidence within myself, and then I don't need to set those unrealistic expectations. My team doesn't expect me to be perfect as long as I can just be consistently good, not occasionally great. So just having really good confidence within myself kind of helps me to play free.
Well, I think, Coach Beth, you've talked about Gibby and how she is always looking to improve. Can you talk a little bit about what not only her playing but her work ethic does to kind of set the standard for what it means to be a Utah Ute?
Yeah, I think, Gibby mentioned it, that there's a certain level of expectations every time you walk in the gym or to be a part of this program. And she does a great job of role modeling that every day. Gibby worked hard from day one. She always works hard. We don't ever have to worry about that. I think that the thing that Gibby's mentioned just now, and I think it's really key to her moving forward, is her understanding the mental part of taking on a bigger role. And she worked at that in the off season. She didn't just go, okay, well, it's a new role. No, she met with people. She talked with people. She got advice from people on how to be a stronger leader. And to me, that really showed like her investment in this program and in herself. She wanted to get on, that the U21 team, and she worked hard to get what to get in that gym. And I tell you, she came into our gym after being with the USA U21 team, and you can always tell when players come off of a USA team and they just play at another level and they understand a higher level of volleyball, and that's showing up in our gym right now. So I'm really proud of the work that she's done in the off season from a mental and leadership standpoint as much as anything. But her game's improved a ton too, because she's always doing the work in the gym.
Coach, talking a little bit about that off season, having Gibby on the U21 team and then some of the other players playing internationally, how has that shifted the confidence and also just the skill in the gym over the summer?
Yeah, I've always been a big proponent of players, trying out for the USA teams and being in that system, because they're playing high-level volleyball for 2 to 3 to 4 weeks during the summer, and that's hard to replicate on your own court in the summer, in your own gyms, on your campuses. So yeah, Devin Weiss was on the USA U19 team and gained tremendous amount of experience for a young player. We have Nea Yoki, who made the final 14 cut for the Finnish national team. So she actually hasn't even joined us yet. She's back in Finland training and playing in matches with the Finnish national team. So I think those experiences are invaluable, and they bring back a whole nother idea of what it means to play really highly competitive volleyball, and that permeates to the whole team. So it's certainly shown up. The rest of our team did a tremendous job this summer. The things that we worked on last spring were very evidently worked on during the summer in our first practice. And I gave our team kudos for that, because we can't be in the gym training them, but they got better during the summer. And every coach loves to see that, and that certainly happened with us this fall.
Coach, one of those players that I'm sure is taking more steps and getting better is Embry. Let's talk a little bit about what she's worked on in the offseason and where she can take her game to the next level for you this year as she anchors the net.
Yeah, she's such an exciting player. She's such a great athlete, but what's happening now is she's becoming a very good volleyball player. In the off season, I would say she's worked on increasing the amount of places that she can attack from on the net. She's not just staying in front of the setter now. She's going behind the setter, and she's attacking from 4 or 5 different places. And she's so quick and she's so physical, and she plays so high that it's something that she can be very successful at. And we worked on that a lot in the spring. So I think she's going to have she had a great year last year. I think it's going to be even more of a breakout this season.
Well, and I think for both of you, but Gibby specifically, as you look ahead to preseason and into conference play, what matches do you have circled on your calendar that you either are really excited for, that you're gearing up for, you want revenge? What's exciting for you looking ahead?
Obviously BYU, that's like the biggest one for sure. That's always the best rivalry. I also really look forward to playing U of A and ASU just because I'm from Arizona. A lot of my family and friends will go to those games.
We have a few big preseason matches as well.
Oh, preseason too. Oh, okay, sorry. Nebraska, of course. We're playing Nebraska in preseason. Obviously, top dog school. We want to knock off as much as we can against them. We have an exhibition match against Texas as well. And then we also play Texas A&M and Dayton. Those will be some really good games as well.
Coach, how would you describe the identity of this Utah group versus past or previous years?
I think that's a little bit to be determined. Like I said, I am as excited to coach this team and form this group of individuals into a team as any season I've had. The talent's there, the work ethic is there, the desire is there to be great. Now it's just about really establishing roles and watching them flourish. But we have some decisions to make. We have some role development and those kind of things. So I know they're going to work hard. I know the work ethic's going to be there. I think we have a decent amount of talent. And then how this team kind of forms into how this group forms into a team. Those are things that we got to work at, and that's the fun part. I think the identity is to be determined, but I think the foundation is there.
Well, I think one of my favorite Coach Lanier phrases is always figure out the seats on the bus. And some years it's easier than others, and sometimes it takes a while getting into the season to figure out exactly the right pieces in the right places. For you, do you feel the pressure to establish it early, or it feels like you're kind of go with the flow and things will work out?
We're only in our first week of practice, so right now I'm going with the flow, but we're going to have to make some decisions here coming up. We still have 3 weeks till our first match. So I think Amy, it's exactly what this season is about, is getting the right players on the right seats on the bus. And so we're gonna have to make some decisions, but I do anticipate that I think it's going to ebb and flow a little bit. The positions aren't just so set in stone like they were last year when we had 8 seniors. That was pretty solid. But I think that's an exciting place to be with this group, with the amount of talent that we have.
Head coach Beth Lanier and standout player Cameron Gabadlo, thank you so much for joining us here today at the Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. Best of luck this season. We look forward to seeing how this all comes together for your team.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, coming up, we have Texas Tech. We are excited to talk with the Red Raiders, and head coach Tony Greystone will be joining us as we continue Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. Welcome back to Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. I am Kristen Kozlowski, joined by former volleyball standouts Alex Jean Glover, Amy Gant. We are loving what we're hearing so far by these teams. Now joined by Texas Tech and Tony Greystone, entering his 9th season as head coach. Coach Greystone has built a tough, defensive-minded program in Lubbock and has guided the Red Raiders through consistent growth in the competitive Big 12. This year, Tech returns key pieces, adds impact transfers, ready to make some noise. Let's get to it. Coach Greystone, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Yeah, thank you. This is great.
Let's talk about your team and the changes. There's always changes. We've been talking about the landscape of college volleyball and across the board for every sport. But every year there are changes where you're losing some of that experience, bringing in changes with the transfers. So what does this team look like? How is the chemistry coming together as you enter 2025?
Yeah, you're right. A lot of changes. We had an older team last season, a lot of grad transfers. And we knew they were going to be transitioning out, and we were going to bring in a big freshman class. And we've done it. We've added a few transfers here and there. But by and large, this is a pretty new team. And so far, so good. We're coming together well. I think summer 2 was great for them to get together and go through workouts in open gym. And by the time the coaches got together with them, we were hitting the ground running. So we're happy with what we're seeing so far.
Coach, while the team didn't have any preseason selections, you definitely have players who are capable of stepping into those bigger roles. Who has stood out to you as a breakout candidate in this offseason?
Yeah, we've got two older middles with Jasmine and Aaliyah, and they kind of are the anchors with offense, defense of the whole thing, and we're really building this around them. We brought in a really nice grad transfer setter, Peyton Dunn from Auburn, and then we've got a really strong freshman class. So I think you're going to see a lot of different players step up and play big roles. Reagan Engler is another one. We're actually kind of moving her around a little bit, seeing where else we can use her besides in the middle, and it all looks good right now.
And Coach, you talk a lot about culture and how important that is for you to develop. Specifically last season, you felt like turned a corner a little bit with 11 new players coming in. How do you get that consistency and maintain that upward momentum?
Yeah, we got to lean on the returners, and we've got some great leadership with Reagan and Jasmine especially. And so the example is there. They know what we're all about. And it just seems like every time we're together, you can see those things start to kick in, and it's becoming really natural. And I think the identity of this team is going to be based on what they show, and the values that we have are pretty evident.
Coach, can you dive into some of those returners for us a little bit more and what they're bringing? You talked about Reagan a little bit and Caitlin, and where they've upped their game for you this season and what you're seeing, what they've worked on in the offseason to really elevate.
Yeah, with Reagan, she's been a middle her whole career here, and we started using her on the outside late last spring, and we just felt like she had the aptitude to do it. She's got the vision and the footwork, and she's got a big physical arm, and we just wanted to see if she could do it, and it's been really successful so far. So we're really excited about what she can do, and she's really leaning into a new role, and that's been fun to watch. Casey, our setter, she's going into her third year, and it's always the same with the setters, connections and consistency, and being able to see across the net and run the great offense, and she's showing that as well. Emily Contreras is another one who's coming back, and she tore her ACL at the very end of last season, and she's right at the end of her return to play and looking really good, and so we're pumped about having her back right before we get into season. But these returners that we have, they've been really going hard, and you can see the growth in their game, and they just have been great mentors to these younger players.
Coach, you talked about her a little bit earlier, Jasmine Martin being finally back and healthy again. How excited are you to see her back in action?
Yeah, you have no idea. She's a favorite of mine just because of her story and just the perseverance, and to have a player who's torn her ACL 3 times and still comes back, and she's hands down the most optimistic player I've ever coached, and just a great story and great example for all of those players that we have coming in. And so for her to have a voice now and to feel like she's healthy and playing at a high level again, it's really fun to see, and reminds of what we were probably missing last year.
Can you talk us through your thoughts as you went into planning your preseason and heading into Big 12 to make sure your team was as ready as possible?
Yeah, there's a couple different ways. We're trying to prepare for the Big 12, and so you got to play the right teams to get ramped up for that. You're also thinking about the team that we have and the youth we have, and wanting to make sure we get off to a good start and build some confidence there. So there's a little bit of both built into this. But some pretty good road trips. I'm happy to start at FAU, and we're going to get a nice road trip to Florida to start and spend a little team time before we get on the court, and then we'll just kind of go through it. But that week 2 in Georgia is a quick turnaround. We're going to play 3 midweeks matches in a row and no weekend that weekend. So we're going to be playing 6 matches in about the first 10 days, and we're going to find out real quick what we're all about.
Every match is important when you're a coach, right? But is there any of those matches that are coming up or in the preseason or in conference play that you really enjoy maybe going to the venue or taking on more as a rival?
Yeah, this is going to be my 3rd time taking the team down to Athens, and I'm a big fan of Tom and what they do down there, and that's a great place to play down in Georgia. So, we're always happy to go back down there. And then when we get into Big 12 play, to me, it's all about the Texas schools, and we're trying to show as well as we can against them, and so those are the ones we're thinking about most.
Coach, you talked about having a large graduating class last year, having a couple of new key additions, being younger, and then also some coming back from injury. How have you been able to balance patience but also coming out and being competitive from the first whistle?
Yeah, the beginning, it's about systems and talking the same language and just communicating and problem solving, building those connections. And so there's some patience that goes along into that. But this team has a good motor, and they want to play fast anyway. And So they're communicating well. You can see them kind of working through things. And I just love to see how they're really intentional about how they're trying to get better and just be on the same page. And you can see this every workout we have, we're getting cleaner and cleaner. And just, we're ironing things out really quick.
Coach, one of your new players from France, Callie, what does she bring, being a U20 member and having international experience? Have you noticed a difference in your gym and what she brings to the table?
Yeah, she is on her way here right now. We haven't seen her yet. She was playing in the World University Games, and so she held off coming to Lubbock until she got through that, and so she's on a plane right now, and we should have her on the court by Friday. But we have big expectations of her. We know that she can play, and it was important for us to bring in a 6-row outside that has some really nice experience, even though she's young, and Callie's the one.
I know leadership is key for every single team, and that can be challenging when your players aren't quite here. You're just a few weeks away from the match, but talk to us about your leadership and what players are stepping up. I know that Martin has been one of those key ones, but she hasn't necessarily been on the court at all times. So who else is stepping up in leadership roles for you?
Yeah, if we had to pick one player as kind of the face of the team this year, I'd say it's Reagan Engler. And, she's been with us for 3 years now. And just one of those players you identify immediately as a potential leader when she's a freshman. And so we've been working on this with her for a while and just, helping her create a voice and build respect within the team. And they look at her in all situations, and she just does everything the right way. So, to see her within her position group with the middles and how they did things, and now to see her have that extend to the whole team, it's really been a good situation. And so I feel as good about our leadership as I have in a long, long time.
I know a lot of new additions and then some players not even being here currently, but what do you say the identity of the group is at this moment?
Yeah, we're going to find out. It's one of those things that you do throughout the preseason. It changes from year to year. We actually had lunch today after practice, and we're talking about shared values and just trying to put those things out there that we want to build around and know that we can anchor ourselves to. And so we're having those conversations now. And I think in a couple weeks before we leave for Florida, we're going to know.
Well, Coach, thank you for taking the time joining us today. Tony Greystone of Texas Tech, we look forward to watching your team this season and continue to build upon the success from last year.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, Texas Tech, last year, they finished 6-12 in Big 12 play, 14-16 overall. It's the team that in the preseason picked 12th. As we talk to Coach and you talk about some of these players that are coming in, do you anticipate they're going to finish right at 12th or going to be better than that this season?
Well, I think last year they surprised some people. At times they've really found a way, and it's tough to make moves in this kind of conference, to grow as a program when night in, night out you're getting beat down. And I think this Texas Tech team made a lot of strides in getting better, and I think they're going to surprise some people.
I think it's hard to tell because right now we know that there's a lot of key pieces that haven't seen the court in a long time. They had a lot of injuries last year. They have some people coming in that have been transferred. They have some newcomers. So I think it might be hard for them at the beginning, but we may see some firepower come in at the end, and you want to be playing your best volleyball at the end.
Well, one of those key players that we are now going to talk to joining us is Jasmine Martin, 6'2" grad student, outside hitter for the Red Raiders. She's known for her explosive arm, high energy presence on the court. Jasmine's coming off another injury in the season of 2024 where she had to sit out, and Coach mentioned that with the 3 ACL tears. Quite the story of recovery. Jasmine, thank you for joining us here at Big 12 Media Days.
Hello, thank you.
Let's talk about your recovery. Let's talk about your health, because obviously that has been something that has kind of plagued you throughout your career. And as a player, when I played, I went through similar things with my knee. So how challenging has that been, and how is your health right now?
It was very challenging at first, with having 2 previous injuries, the same knee, same injury, and then coming to a new school thinking that I would be ready for a fresh start and back to being healthy, and then having it happen again. It was pretty defeating at first, and there were times that I questioned, am I really meant to play at this level? But I was determined to not give up and not let an injury be the reason I step away from the sport that I love. And it was also really nice to have a whole new everything, a whole new trainer, strength coach, new coaches. I went to a world-renowned surgeon, so having a whole new process to kind of lean onto and get me through the process a third time has really brought me some confidence, and I'm feeling really strong, really healthy, and ready to go for the season.
Well, I think obviously when you have to sit out and you struggle with injury, it changes your perspective on the game entirely. Can you talk a little bit about what getting to play this season, kind of how you're viewing the sport itself and that opportunity?
Yeah, it definitely brings a lot of perspective, you know, because I've had a lot of time to sit and watch the game and learn the game and study it. So I think it brings a lot of maturity with it. And then also it brings a lot of gratitude, because at any moment your health could be taken away from you, or multiple times. And so when you are finally healthy, I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude that my body is working, it's feeling strong, and I'm surrounded by such supportive teammates and staff that really helped me get here.
Touching on that time off, saying that you've gotten a full new perspective, a lot of time to think about just the game, about your career. What are some personal goals that you have for yourself going into the season?
I just want to really start strong and finish strong, because I've, you know, had an interesting last 5 to 6 seasons. So I really am determined to maintain my health the entire season, and also kind of step into a leadership role, especially like Coach had mentioned, we have a pretty young team. And so, but they did a great job recruiting. We have a lot of talent coming in. So I think with the perspective that I have, being able to help guide these younger girls and help change their perspectives, like on days that they're like, oh, I don't want to do this workout, just remind them, you're lucky to be here. You're really lucky to have a healthy working body. And so just encouraging the younger girls to believe in themselves and step into more of a leadership role for myself.
Well, and having had the experience of playing at multiple universities and not playing and playing, you know, what do you, looking ahead to this season, what are you excited about for this team and what they have to bring to the table and heading into conference?
Yeah, I think we're really excited to get this season going, especially with, again, having such a young team. They're all just hungry and ready to get going. And me personally, I'm especially excited for some of the preseason games. I have a lot of family coming to like the Florida matches, and some of them I haven't played in front of ever, or like with my mom, she hasn't seen me play in 2 years. So I'm really excited to play in front of my family. I know my teammates are too. And I think for conference games, I know some of them are coming from schools that they've transferred from schools that we will be playing, which I think kind of just fuels the fire for them. So as teammates, we're all backing up that energy behind them.
Now, you talked about some of the younger players come in, and we know that there's some experience of playing together. So off the court, sometimes you can develop that. Are there things that this team has been doing in the off season, maybe throughout the summer, to help in that bonding of the team?
Yeah, we spend a lot of time together. It's been really fun, and each day we've been meeting as a team, kind of going over our core values and how to establish trust and confidence and what our culture is all about. So I think that's really important, that we've been establishing such a strong tone and prioritizing relationships off the court so we can carry that onto the court when it comes time.
You talk about core values, spending a lot of time together, just really being excited for the season. What do you think the Red Raider fan should be excited for when watching y'all this season?
I think that they're going to see just a family out there playing together. You know, we're all super close, and we've all come from a lot of different places, but we've gotten really close just in the last couple months of being together throughout the summer. And I think just seeing the fire that we have and how much respect and love we have for each other, I think it just shows when we play together.
Well, Jasmine, thank you for joining us here on Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. We really appreciate you taking the time. Best of luck this season. We're hoping for a healthy and a very positive season for you this year.
Yes, me too. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, that was Red Raider, Texas Tech volleyball. Coming up, we are excited to get to TCU. We're going to keep this thing rolling. We will be joined by TCU's Jason Williams, the head coach of the Horned Frogs, as we come back.
I did some soul searching.
I started praying as to whatever you're doing, just don't take this one.
Challenges come with pain,
There's no other story like it.
but pain will not win.
Your Jayhawks are national champions!
Pursue the dream.
Don't let anything stop you.
If I can make it this far, you can make it even further.
No matter what I do, all the glory go to God.
It's given me a great sense of purpose. This is my life's work.
The NCAA, driving change to do more for today's student athletes.
The NCAA programs deliver $4 billion in scholarships every year. Those D1 scholarships are now guaranteed. Health and well-being services are mandatory. Student athletes get tutoring as well as financial literacy coaching because almost everyone is going pro in something other than sports. The NCAA, driving change to do more for today's student athletes.
Welcome back to Big 12 Volleyball Media Days as we turn our attention now to the TCU Horned Frogs. Joining us now is Jason Williams, who enters his third season as head coach of TCU Volleyball after leading the Horned Frogs to back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances in his first 2 seasons. Coach Williams is building one of the Big 12's rising programs fueled by competitive culture, strong recruiting, and player development. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's get to it and talk about last year's success, coming off a top 25 national finish. How do you carry that momentum and continue to build upon that into this 2025 season?
Yeah, so it's it's been a work in progress, trying to get the values, the culture, getting our standards set. We're still trying to rise to the standards that I have for the program, but last year was awesome. Obviously, having Player of the Year with Melanie Parra was a fun season, but we have some new people that we're going to have to rely on this year, and we're looking forward to get started.
Coach, having that first place vote in the preseason polls, what does that say about how the league views this team?
Yeah, I mean, it's flattering that they know we have the ability to win the league. Obviously, a lot of good teams in the Big 12, and we know it's a battle day in and day out. But yeah, I think I hope, or at least I hope, that other coaches are seeing the things that we're trying to get done here, and just know that some of the talent we've brought in on the roster is going to hopefully keep us at the top of the rankings.
Well, you talk about losing Melanie Parra. That's obviously a big loss to your team. And as you look to fill in those holes, where are you looking? Probably in 6 places. She did a lot for you.
Yeah, no, for sure. She was a phenomenal player. And we did rely on her a lot last year, but probably at the sacrifice of allowing other players to shine, And so this year, I think those that kind of took a back seat to her last year are looking forward to jumping in the driver's seat and leading us through.
Yeah, one of those players may be Jalen Gibson that you're talking about. She was on the preseason team. How big of a role will she play going into this season?
Yeah, she'll play probably the biggest role because she's, a primary passer for us, 6 rotation. She's a senior. She's been with me, from the beginning, and she's just the maturity and the growth that she's had over the last couple of years is she can fill Melanie's role pretty easy for us. So that's the expectation we have for her. But obviously now other teams know, right? They'll be gunning to figure out how to stop her. So she'll need some help there, but she's looking good so far.
With some of these new pieces coming in, can you dive into a little bit more of how they're filling some of those key roles for this roster?
Yeah, I mean, we have some good arms on the team, and we just don't have what I would call the experience in terms of like depth of matches, but we have some upperclassmen that I think we're going to be able to rely on a little bit more this year. So, like I said, the practices have been looking really good to start, considering how early it is. But we just have so many new pieces. It's going to be hard for me to tell how things are going to roll here in these first few weeks. But this is a team that I'm looking at, December, having our being at our best, as opposed to what we're going to look like here in August.
Coach, last year your team entered the AVCA poll for the first time ever and maintained that for 14 straight weeks. These players that returned, what do you think they gained along the way there that they can take into this season?
Yeah, I think it's the invaluable experience of like how hard it is to be in the poll and to stay there, right? It's just really tough, and I think we benefited a little bit with the Big 12 having several teams in the top 25, and we had some wins in there. So when you get those ranked wins, that really helps you. But just building the confidence of like we're there. We got some things we need to work on if we want to get higher in the poll or if we want to beat higher ranked teams.
Coach, talking about the top 25 poll last season and then now getting some votes to be first. Obviously, a lot of success. We've got some key players. You've already talked about Jalen, but who are some of those players that you think are flying underneath the radar that you'll be looking to in this upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple of sophomores. Evan Hendricks stepped in last year when we needed her. She's another 6 rotation that is just, her game has really elevated quickly. She's very trustworthy player for us. So I think she's somebody that's going to kind of turn some heads this year. Becca Kelly was the transfer from Oregon. She's just annihilates balls, so we're hoping she does that a lot for us this year. And brought in a new setter. So Rosie was at Pepperdine. We brought her in, so we have a brand new setter coming in, and we're really excited for her.
For your goal to be where you want to be in December, how did that go into how you scheduled this season and preparing your preseason matches? And then what are you looking for going into conference? What needs to happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thinking about December was the whole schedule, really. For me, I like to be aggressive. I'm not about like just scheduling to get wins. I want to schedule to help us get the wins when it matters. So, opening up with 2 Final Four teams and then a really good UCLA team this year, back-to-back at home, and then obviously another potential top 10 team with A&M. We could be higher ranked with some wins there, or we could be 0-5. But I think those matches set the tone and tell us where we are and what we need to work on as we get ready for conference. And conference is going to be tough, but I really like our schedule. I think we've got a good schedule to get the wins that we want to get, and our goal is to win conference this year.
And no doubt you're going to be battle tested early, especially in that preseason as you have scheduled that tough. What do you hope to see out of your team and how they respond in some of these matches?
Yeah, we train to be aggressive. We want to be the first one to score. So that's what I want to see. I want to see that the way we train is how we play in those big matches, and not kind of fall into a play it safe or worry too much about the score, and just play to our standards. And I think if we do that, we got a shot. And if not, we lose, and we come back in the gym and we figure out what we got to do to get ready for conference.
Speaking of conference and how it's been a couple of years. Have you played in every facility yet? Do you have a favorite?
We have not played in all, right? Arizona's schools will be new for us. But I mean, at BYU was fun, playing in Provo and then fortunately being able to get a win in Provo is awesome. But I still have a special place in my heart for Baylor, so I love playing in Farrell Center. But yeah, I mean, my favorite place would be in Fort Worth.
Well, Jason Williams of TCU, thank you so much for joining us here on Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. We wish you the best of luck and hope that this team will come together. Looking forward to seeing what you can do, especially early on.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Right, the TCU Horned Frogs. This is a team that's bringing in a lot of experience, but also some newcomers coming in. And they talked about some of those key returners that he's coming in. How difficult is that to blend some of that, Amy, as you look at, you're bringing in the transfers, you've got the experience, so how do you get on the same page going in?
Well, I think really establishing who you are, your identity, and you can hear from Coach Williams.
We're not sure.
Well, and that there are certain things that this team does, and they get after it. They work hard and they attack. And that was what I think was so fun about watching them last year. They weren't intimidated by anyone, and they came out on the offensive from the first point, and it kind of sounds like it's going to be that. So that's really exciting for those watching those matches, because I think there's a lot of power and a lot of good volleyball.
And Alex, they lose Para, who was their big gun last year and one of their top players. So you lose a player like that, not only on the court are you losing what she can do at the net, but the leadership and the experience. And so transitioning some of that, they have some key pieces, absolutely, but what needs to stand out early in terms of a leadership role from some of these players?
I think Coach Jason talked about it earlier. Some of those other players didn't get the opportunity to shine, so now they're going to have that opportunity. They've already played underneath Para. They've seen what she can do. And then you're also learning that in every single practice, getting better, elevating your game. So now it's their time to shine, and I think they're going to take that momentum and really do it.
We're now joined by TCU's senior outside hitter, Jalen Gibson, coming off an All-Big 12 season in 2024. Gibson has a personal best 380 kills on the season last year for the Horned Frogs. Jalen, thank you for joining us here on Big 12 Media Days.
Hi, thank you for having me.
We are excited to dive right in with you. Talked with Coach, talked a lot about some of the experience coming in, some of the new faces we're going to see. What's the team vibe right now, the culture of the team going into this season?
I feel like this has been one of our best, starting off with two-a-days, this has been our best year yet. I feel like our gym is so competitive already. This is the first week of two-a-days, so I'm just really excited to see where we are when we actually begin.
Jalen, preseason All Big 12. What did it mean to get that recognition going into your senior year?
I mean, it means a lot. I feel like it's huge. I'm very honored, very thankful. Obviously, I couldn't do it without my teammates and just an amazing coaching staff. But obviously, I want to strive for even bigger and better with All-American and stuff like that.
Well, I think obviously you're in the same position on the floor. You played a ton last year, but a little different mentally as far as your role. You're a captain. You're probably carrying a bigger load out there on the floor. How did you prepare over the course of this off season to really raise that level and take on more responsibility?
I feel like with this role, I'm super excited, with Mel being gone. I kind of thought of it with ending last year, just going into this season, that I'm going to have to be a huge part of this team. And even during spring, I've mentally prepared, this is what I'm going to have to do. And I'm excited, to lead my team to where we want to be in the end.
Let's talk about your new setter, and Rosie, and Coach brought her up just a little bit, but that connection that you have to have as a hitter with the setter and how that's coming together for you personally with her.
I feel like our connection is great. She came in amazing. I was very impressed by her. And even off the court, our connection, we call each other yin and yang, and we get that a lot from our teammates too. So we also live together. So I feel like off the court connection helps so much with on the court connection. And I feel like we're going to be a very powerful duo this season.
Coach talked about how some of the players didn't get to shine last year because of Para. Who have you really seen step up in the offseason in the gym?
I feel like, with our new freshman, Samara Coleman, I feel like she's going to be a huge arm, huge impact with our team. And then also Becca Kelly just being here She's stepped it up so much. She's a huge hitter, strong hitter. So I'm excited to see where the season will take her.
Well, I'm wondering with this team, what is your identity going to be this year? What are fans going to see when they come to watch you play, and what are opponents going to have to watch out for?
I feel like they're going to have to watch out for just me being a new version of myself, you know, stepping into that role and filling in the shoes of Melanie Parra, just coming out of my shell and just going out with the best season possible. So excited for opponents to see that.
Are there any matches that you're looking forward to the most, or venues that you look forward to playing at?
I'm very excited for our first two matches, Pitt and Penn State. That'll be a very fun weekend. And then also playing A&M after seeing them in the top 10, I believe. I feel like, you know, we have a shot, and us at 25 right now, I feel like we're the underdog. So I feel like teams might have to watch out for us. So that's really exciting.
Last season was a huge breakthrough year for y'all. Building off of that momentum, what are some personal goals you have for yourself? We heard you talk about it earlier, All-American, but for yourself and also the team.
I feel like for me, one All-American and just really going off against the top 25 teams, because I feel like last year, you know, I went off on the smaller teams, but this year I just want to have a bigger impact when we play the top 25 teams. And then some goals for our team is to get into the Sweet 16, you know, finally break through the second round of the tournament and just make some history this year.
Your coach talked a little bit about, I'm sure you guys want to be there in December at the end of the year, but being that athlete that has gone through a few seasons, what do you do to make sure physically you're there and mentally? Because it's a long grind at times.
Yes. Physically, just, you know, working with our trainers and being in the new facilities that we have, just taking advantage of those even with nutrition and all of that. And then mentally, you know, staying close with family, talking to them all the time, and then even doing things outside of volleyball, taking time for myself is just a really big part, especially when it's November, December time.
Lots of changes. Talking about December, let's bring it back a little bit to the preseason. What's the vibe in the gym, and is there anything special about this team that you see that's different from previous seasons?
Like I said earlier, I feel like we're just so competitive. You know, we are striving for one big thing right now, and that is going undefeated in preseason. So just the intensity in our gym and just we're so competitive with each other is going to really push us into winning these first few matches, which I'm really excited about.
You're finishing in top 25 a season ago, and this is something I think not every team gets to come in and have that momentum, right? And carry that in, even though you did lose some players. So how do you continue to rely on that momentum, but also build upon that and take it a level up?
I think just remembering who we are, you know, we're very thankful to be in top 25. But I think being at number 25 is fuel. It fuels us to be even better. And we're very grateful to play, you know, top 10 teams, and I just feel like we have a shot at, you know, getting even higher than where we are now.
And how do you feel like the Big 12 and playing in this conference where it's night in, night out, you have to be at your best, how that prepares you for being where you want to be at the end and for the tournament?
I feel like our conference is very, very tough, but it's so exciting because every week we have a new team, and it's just new players, and it's always just competitive in our conference. But then again, I also feel like we have a huge shot at winning it this year because I feel like a lot of teams have switched around, gotten new players, so just seeing new faces. So I'm really excited. I feel like we have huge potential on winning our conference this year.
We've talked about how we've had a lot of roster changes on y'all's side. And of course, that comes with different things changing in the gym, different parities, maybe some different relationships. Is there anything that's taken you by surprise?
I feel like what took me by surprise was this summer how we just all meshed so quickly. You know, being a summer captain, I was kind of scared, you know, having new freshmen or new transfers, how long it was going to take for us to just mesh. But I feel like by the second week, we were already all best friends and we just connected on the court so easily. Everything was just a flow. And even in two-a-days, I feel like it's all gone so smoothly because of the summer that we had. It's just been so smooth, and we're very fortunate to have that.
Well, we've been fortunate to be joined by senior outside hitter Jalen Gibson. Thank you for joining us here today. Best of luck this season. We're looking forward to watching you out on the court.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that was TCU Volleyball. Up next, we have Kansas State. Looking forward to getting to know more about the Wildcats and what's going into their season as we start with Jason Mansfield when we come back.
Our football coverage will be greater than ever before thanks to this new partnership with TuneIn Radio.
Big 12 Radio. Big 12 Radio.
This is phenomenal.
Big 12 Radio on TuneIn.
These great teams come together, man. It's gonna be exciting.
I'm excited, ready to get this season going.
Hey, it's Ari Temkin and James Westling from the Big 12 Today studio.
I'm Commissioner Yormark, and you're listening to Big 12 Radio on TuneIn.
It's amazing what people can accomplish. Not just me, anybody. There's tons of people who have been successful by just not giving up, not quitting, just having a good attitude and just going to work.
How hard we worked. It's credit to those guys who put in work day in and day out.
You're listening to Big 12 Radio on TuneIn.
There's gonna come a time where the Rabbit gonna have a gun too. Rabbit ain't had no gun last year. Rabbit gonna have a gun too, man.
Hey, it's Ari Temkin, James Westling, Big 12 Radio. What a big couple of weeks this is for the Big 12.
Now that we have year one under our belt, it's not so new anymore. Last year was uncharted territory.
What's next?
Big 12 Radio. We brought teams in that have had recent success to sell out their stadiums, being in the new league.
I think that you might mess around and see Kansas in the Sweet 16.
The latest in insights, information on all the best teams in the Big 12.
Interviews with players, coaches, the commish, and we'll get Rachel's expert analysis.
This is the Big 12 Radio on TuneIn.
NCAA athletes don't just compete, they make history. Representing our nation with pride and excellence, they bring home the hardware. Our college campuses serve as training grounds for the next generation of stars. Catch tomorrow's Olympians and Paralympians on the NCAA Championship stage today.
Welcome back in for Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. I'm Kristen Kozlowski, joined by Alex Jean Glover and Amy Gant. We're going to dive right in and joined by head coach of Kansas State Volleyball, Jason Mansfield, as he enters his third season at the helm. In just 2 years, he's built consistency and energy within the program, returning every eligible player from last season and welcoming one of the Big 12's most promising freshman class. It is almost unheard of, Coach, to not have any transfers out or any transfers in. So props to you, and thank you for joining us here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys doing this for us.
Well, let's talk about that. And nobody going out, nobody coming in. You do have some freshmen, talented freshmen coming in. How do you speak to that continuity and the depth that you're going to have returning this season?
Yeah, just really excited that everybody decided to come back after the fall, and then again in the spring. We had a great spring with the 11 returners, and yeah, I think it speaks for how much they care, about each other and love playing with each other, and how much loyalty they have to K-State. So yeah, it's unique, but we're trying to build a program here that that's based off, having everybody feel valued and loyalty and just appreciate that they hopefully feel that.
Well, Coach, can you kind of expand on that a little more? Because I think you're underselling yourself. It's very difficult in this new climate to build culture and to build players who continue to value that team and loyalty. And so is there something specific where you take extra time working on culture, or how are you approaching that? And that's clearly a very important thing to you.
Well, I think it starts that Manhattan, Kansas is a special place, and K-State is a special place as well. So I think that's where it starts. And then for us, when I became a head coach, I was an assistant coach for a long time and really wanted everybody, again, to feel valued, to be coached every day, to feel like they were improving. And I think if you start in that way, then you get a good opportunity to have people, buy in and invest and hopefully stay for their whole entire career. I mean, that's the reason I love doing what I do, is to see development and to see the players get better, each year and obviously throughout a career. And so that's the hope. But I think it's a lot of different things that make up our culture and make up the reason that people decided to stay.
Coach, talking about that culture, that buy-in, you have a strong veteran core this season. What has that meant to the team going into the preseason and then also just the offseason, where they kind of have to pull in the reins by themselves and get everybody on the same page?
Yeah, there's no substitute for the urgency that you have, in your senior year, and you don't know it until you have it, right? And so I think the 5 seniors that we have, they're really excited and they're urgent to get our program to a place where they want to be. And we've had some exciting wins and some good matches the last couple of years, but the consistency hasn't been there. And so I think they're the driving force in the way that we're going to compete every day in practice and try to get better. And so, yeah, I love the 5 seniors that we have, and they're going to be very important to us on the court and off the court. And it started this spring. It started in January. They were great, and they really wanted to, again, stay and be the change to try to get the program to a place that we haven't been in a long time.
Along with some of those veteran players, you returned some youth as well in Clinton and Myers, 2 players that were all Big 12 rookie team a season ago. So what can you tell us about what they've worked on in the offseason and what you're seeing out of them?
Yeah, I think we're very fortunate to have 2 outside hitters, in Anaya Clinton and Shaylee Myers that have a lot of experience, and 2 middle blockers in Brenna Schmidt and Jordan Williams with a lot of experience as well in their senior year, and then Ava Legrand as a setter. So again, the five seniors have really kind of led the charge this offseason in the spring and in the summer. And we have 6 good freshmen coming in. It's a big class for us. It's kind of our first big class as a staff and as a program since we've been here, and excited about coaching them. Haven't coached them yet. We'll start tomorrow, and I'm just excited about the blend of kind of veterans and newcomers coming in and see how they fit together.
Last season, you guys faced some unfortunate and unlucky injuries. What is your thought process heading into this season? What are some goals that this team has as far as heading into Big 12?
Yeah, I think everybody is concerned about injuries, right? And so I think that we try to do everything that we can every day to try to keep them healthy and talk about it and take care of each other. Excuse me. I think the other thing when it comes to just our culture is we talked about everybody feeling valued and coaching everybody every day, but everybody's got to be ready to play. And we found that out kind of the hard way in the preseason last year, where we had people that needed to play that maybe didn't expect to play the role that they had to against very good teams because injuries happen. And so just think that's why it's important that all 17 players improve and again, figure out how to get better every day and they're ready to go.
Coach, you've got 10 matches against NCAA tournament teams. What was your thought process when building out this schedule?
Yeah, the Big 12 is really tough and really balanced kind of every year. There's great coaches throughout the conference and obviously great players. But I think our preseason, we wanted to start at home. And so that was important to us to try to start the first 2 weekends at home, and then yeah, we go to Santa Barbara and North Carolina, 2 places that are going to be tough, and 2 really good programs with good coaching staffs. And so yeah, we just try to put together a schedule where we felt like it was going to be tough and it was going to challenge us to get ready for the Big 12, which is wide open this year as far as the teams that are in there and who's going to be good. I think every weekend is going to be tough, and it's been like that the last 2 seasons in the Big 12.
What is a home match like? For fans maybe that haven't been there or you've watched on TV, if you're coming to a home match at Kansas State at Morgan Family Arena, what is that environment like for this team?
It's rocking. It's the best. It's the best environment in the country. 3,500 fans, cheering us on, and volleyball only arena. We don't share it with any other sport. We're very fortunate, for that. And yeah, it's been special. We've made some special memories already in the first 2 seasons, but yeah, our support, our fans, they're second to none, and they really, inspire the girls to play tough, and really we feel the support every single night. But it's a special place, and we hope that the more matches will be on TV, and more matches they'll be able to show exactly what the environment's like. But yeah, you don't really know it until you're able to see a match here, but it's as special as any place in the country.
Volleyball only arena, so I don't even think I have to ask you the question of if you like home games or away games better, but what games are you excited for that you may have circled on the preseason schedule or even the regular season?
I mean, the first match is, always the most special. So the first match we have in the preseason against UMBC, I think is going to be fun. Yeah, I mean, throughout the season, we just have a lot of really good opponents coming in. Kansas and Iowa State are obviously two of our rivals, and we'll get them at home this year as well as on the road. But yeah, it's every night is unique to its own, and every match in the Big 12 is difficult. But I think that first match and trying to get some excitement, get some momentum, and really having our home court be not just an exciting place to play, but a really difficult place to play for our opponents.
Coach, you feel like maybe, especially coming out of the gate with having such a good core returning, they're comfortable with each other, so there's that culture on the floor. Do you feel like at the beginning of the season that allows you to maybe upset some teams and play teams tough, or how does it benefit you?
It's certainly an advantage to have people back, right? To have 11 returners and us have the spring that we had. It gives us continuity kind of from the beginning. But again, it goes back to the 5 seniors. They're all going to play an important role to us on and off the court. And so so many teams are so different. You don't know what's an upset and what's not. You got to play the team that you're playing that night and prepare for them. But yeah, I'm very excited and hopeful that we'll have a good start to the season, and we'll start in a place tomorrow that is ahead of some of the teams in the past that I've coached, because we have that continuity and those seniors coming back, and then 6 freshmen that are really excited to be here and excited to be at K-State and prove themselves.
Jason Mansfield of Kansas State Volleyball. Coach, it was a pleasure to talk with you and dive more into your program. We are super excited to see what you guys can do this year on the court. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, ladies, as we wait just a moment here for Brenna Schmidt to come on, I want to talk to you more about this. No transfers in, no transfers out. I mean, I really think that's an understatement of how remarkable that is in this landscape of college volleyball, to have nobody leaving the program and that he sustains such depth and continuity.
Well, and I think that also, it speaks to, obviously, Coach Mansfield, but he's also going to talk in the support that he gets within the athletic program, and then within the school itself, and then just the town in general. It's such a great place to play, and I think for these players just to know that the complete person is being served, which is, I think, a wonderful in this environment to really focus on.
And Alex, how important is that as a player, and you're a former player at SMU, to have that chemistry already established, because you don't have so many. They do have a large freshman class, but so many players that are so used to playing with each other.
That's the scary thing about the transfer portal. You don't know the culture of which a player is coming out of, or even in some of the cases in the Big 12 where the coaches are coming from, some different systems that they may implement in. But here, they know each other. They know what systems they're going into. So I think they already have the head start going into next season.
Well, we're joined now by Kansas State's Brenna Schmidt, 6'6" senior. She's the Wildcats' top returning blocker and a key presence at the net. Back for her senior season to anchor that front line. She plays a major role. Thank you for joining us here at the Big 12 Media Days, Brenna.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Let's jump right in terms of your career and what you've done, staying in Manhattan. So this is your 4th year there with Kansas State, something that you don't see very often where players are staying for that full 4 years. How important has that been for you to wear that Kansas State jersey and finish out your career there?
Yeah, I love it here, honestly. The people are great. Obviously, I wouldn't have stayed if I didn't love this program and these people here. And it feels like home to me. It's a place where I feel comfortable and I feel loved by everybody here. And yeah, I'm really proud to have K-State on my jersey.
Well, feeling like you're at home, but also playing. You've got so many returners coming back for this season. Can you talk about that core group and what you guys have built together over the course of the last few years and what your expectations are and hopes going into this season?
Yeah, it feels really good to have 4 other seniors to lean on. We feel very comfortable with each other, and we have a good plan for leadership for the team. And I hope that we're able to do a good job leading the team, hopefully to a championship.
Talking about the seniors, shifting away from that a little bit, you've got 6 freshmen coming in. Who has really shocked you? Who's really had a lot of fire underneath them? And who are you excited to watch in this upcoming season?
I'm not going to pick out anybody in particular, but the freshmen have done a really good job this summer coming in, doing what they need to do, figuring things out. I'm really proud of them and what they've done to prepare to be here.
A lot of times going into a new season, the team will talk about certain themes or goals or a mantra going into it. Have you guys talked about what you want your 2025 to look like?
Absolutely. Our word is together. We want to do everything together for each other.
As part of your personal growth, we talked about the team a little bit, but what are you focused on in the offseason? What did you want to add into your game to help yourself raise your level of play?
Yeah, I really wanted to focus on always getting stronger, always getting faster. One thing is being more aggressive. Steve always tells me, to be the aggressor. And so I worked on that a lot. And then just being available every single chance that I get. As a middle, that's so important because it can catch other teams off guard. And so, yeah, a lot of good work in the spring.
We talked with Coach a lot about how special Kansas State is and just the volleyball-only arena. What is it like playing in that environment? And then how do you think that's an advantage to y'all when you have other teams coming into play?
Yeah, it honestly feels like a great big hug from the community. It's just the atmosphere is great. You can feel love from all of our supporters. And I think it's really tough for teams to come in. I don't think they're expecting the kind of environment that Morgan Family Arena has. I think, a lot of teams are shocked, and it can really affect how they play. So, it's not only us, it's also the fans. So thank you to the fans for giving us that little bit of advantage sometimes.
Well, I think you've got a lot of fun matches coming up. Is there any in particular that you're looking forward to as you look at your lineup for even preseason or into conference?
Always KU. I am really confident that we're going to beat KU this year. So that's one I'm very much looking forward to.
Brenna, thank you for joining us here on Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. We are excited to see what you can do on your senior season for Kansas State Volleyball. Best of luck to the Wildcats.
Thank you so much.
Right, coming up, we've got West Virginia. We're going to dive into what the Mountaineers are doing this season, talk with the coaches, coming up on Big 12 Media Days.
Welcome to Inside the 12. Said it, storylines and stars. Hollywood couldn't write a better script.
But not many can guard it the way that Houston does on the defensive side. Let's take a look. I cannot wait for that one. That one's going to be absolutely elite.
You cannot go wrong with the armadillo assassin. We all know that, right? The stakes could not be any higher.
There's losing, and then there's being the loser. Game time comes with enough pressure. Way too often, people are betting on sports, losing, and taking it out on the athletes. Only a loser would harass college athletes after losing a bet. But it happens almost every day. Root for your team. Get crazy when the buzzer sounds. But don't harass anyone because you lost a bet. It's time we draw the line and put an end to the abuse. Brought to you by the NCAA.
Welcome back into Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. Joining us now from West Virginia is head coach Jen Greeny, a veteran leader with years of experience building competitive programs. She enters her second season with the Mountaineers as they look to bounce back here in 2025. Also with us is junior middle blocker Maddie McGath, who joins us from Morgantown. Thank you for joining us here today and spending time on Big 12 Media Days.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Well, let's talk about this team. You've got some key returners, a handful of transfers coming in, and a freshman setter. So how has the team come together only a few weeks away from first match? What's it looking like?
Yeah, we're really excited for this squad. Like you mentioned, we have 5 transfers and some freshmen joining us as well. So we're really trying to just build on, kind of taking over this program, trying to build just from what we started last year and trying to get better every single day.
You've had so much success bringing in high character student athletes. What do you prioritize when trying to build the team culture?
Yeah, well, we have centered on our 5 core values that we have had throughout building 3 successful programs. And so really trying to find high character student athletes that are good students that really want to work hard and be the change to really turn programs around.
Coach, obviously bringing in a freshman setter, you've done it before. Can you talk a little bit about the challenges and then also what you're excited about as you see someone coming in that might be new running this offense?
Yeah, well, we have, Sarah Pfiffner, a great setter coming from Texas, but we also have Alexis Finvold coming back as well. So we're going to have some good competition in that setter position, possibly run a 6-2 as well. But anytime you have a new setter coming in that is as talented and has had great success like Sarah has, she's such a quick learner, but it also helps Alexis get better as well. And I think our setting position, and Maddie can maybe talk to this as well, has really, really improved. And so it's really exciting to see both of them compete. But as far as Sarah goes, she's a great athlete and a great setter, and we're just really excited to have her join our program.
As you mentioned, Alexis, also Cassidy, Layla, Maddie, some of those returners that you're going to have, how important has it been for their role to take on that leadership, bring that experience to the court as you bring in transfers, you bring in freshmen to continue to form that continuity and chemistry?
Yeah, well, one thing that's really great about these returners is they have bought in just really, really great at a high level. They are hard workers. They're great leaders on and off the court and great communicators as well. So it's really amazing just how much better they have gotten just in 1 year of training.
One of those returners right next to you, Maddie, had such an impressive season last year, leading the team in hitting percentage, being in the top 2 in both kills and blocks. What has been your focus in this offseason?
Yeah, so for me, right now it's just gelling with my teammates and getting better, in the weight room with our strength coach, and really emphasizing the 5 pillars that Jen talked about, and showing these freshmen and the transfers, what West Virginia volleyball is all about. We want to get good reps and hold our standard in the off season so that when season comes around, we're ready to roll.
Well, and I think talking about taking that step forward as you continue to build, what does this team need to do this season to make that jump and take that step forward?
Yeah, I think right now during preseason, with preseason starting a lot earlier, we just need to, hammer out all of the details and the little things. We talk a lot about perfecting the little things so that when we do get into season and things, get a little bit more stressful with travel, academics, those little things just come naturally. And then the rest will follow, the skill will follow. And then really like getting our team connection down, it'll just, come on the court.
You talk about building the little things with so many fresh faces joining. What have y'all been doing off the court to help that team chemistry?
Right. Well, we hang out a lot off the court. We're always goofing around during water breaks. If we're getting treatment, we have some movie nights, some girls' nights. So yeah, I really think that this transfers when we're playing on the court. You can really see that our connection is strong.
Well, Coach, let's talk about your schedule just a little bit and dive into kind of what went into some of these matches that you have scheduled. A lot going to be on the road, so battle tested on the road as well. And what are you looking for from your team early on to see the progress?
Yeah, I think with so many new faces, it's important in our preseason to have a good mix of, some tougher competition and maybe some matches where we think that we can, play with our lineup a little bit as well. I think volleyball as a whole throughout the country is just growing so rapidly that, every team is getting better. But we definitely, because the Big 12 has so much travel involved as well, we really want to get used to being on the road and being successful while we're on the road as well. But, hopefully we can get a lot of people gelled and some playing time so that we're ready to go into Big 12 competition with a strong lineup.
Coach, you're entering your second season now as head coach and in the Big 12. What are some things you learned last season? What were some highlights that you feel like you could take into this season and moving forward as you decide how to navigate this second one?
Yeah, well, Amy, you and I go way back, and building programs is something that we really enjoy doing. So really last year, I think it was being patient and trying to hit the transfer portal and getting some good freshmen in as well. But just, being patient and knowing that it's a process and it's not going to happen overnight. And we want to build it the right way from the ground up with a great foundation. And that way it can be sustainable over a long period of time. We actually had no one that we lost to the transfer portal. We only gained from the transfer portal. And I think that says a lot about our returners, really buying into what we're trying to do and get better every single day.
Coach, that's something that's so impressive and almost unheard of, is losing nobody to the transfer portal. When we're in an era of the transfer portal, what do you think has been the biggest key to retaining those players?
Yeah, I think just trying to create a competitive environment and an environment where we focus on the process, and it's not just about the wins and losses, but it's about the little victories that we can gain every day. And like we mentioned with these returners, that they have really bought in and they see the big difference that we're trying to make from when we took over. And I think the addition of a new strength coach and our new athletic trainer as well, we take a really holistic approach to the entire student athlete, and not just on the court, but academically, graduation and going off and trying to create a career as well. So really trying to create that family atmosphere.
Maddie, you've got a lot of teammates returning with you. Can you talk them up a bit? What's so great playing about these amazing players that surround you?
Yeah, like Jen was saying, like we're all just bought in to this rebuild that we're trying to, make happen here at West Virginia. We talk a lot about our 5 pillars, and something that's so great about all of us is we can hold each other accountable, but we also have so much respect for each other, and so we can take the feedback. Some of my teammates, like they might get on me or something during a drill, during a game, during practice, whatever, but like they know that I can take it, and I know that they're trying to make me better. So I think we have that mentality, which makes us a really strong group.
And a lot of that can be developed off the court. So are there things that you've been doing in the off season, maybe this summer as a team, that's helped build that chemistry on the court?
Yeah, so this whole summer, June and July, we've been doing open gym and lifting every single day. And with the new transfers and freshmen, talking about our standard that we like to uphold and, getting them familiar with the standard that we returners have, bought into is really important, just to get us all on the same page and get them prepared. So when preseason started and the coaches came, they already had an idea of, what was about to go down during practice and just how we could get better.
A lot of new additions. You talked about how you've been in the weight room and doing a lot of stuff on the court in this off season. Skill-wise, what has been the focus?
Like I mentioned earlier, just hammering out the little things, ball control, minimizing our unforced errors, which I think is something that we've already improved tremendously compared to last year. So yeah, we talk a lot about like ball handling and that kind of what's next mentality, getting everyone on the same page. Like, oh, if you make a mistake, like what are you going to do after that to bounce back?
A lot of different places to play in the conference. Maybe you haven't gone to all of them yet, but what are some favorites for you guys looking ahead to this season? Any favorite places to play besides home, of course?
Of course, nothing beats Morgantown, but I loved playing. I have to shout out the Kansas State as a whole. K-State and Kansas is a great atmosphere to play in. Yeah, but also like just going out to BYU and Utah, seeing another part of the country, that was pretty beautiful. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think I have a unique perspective, and quite a few of the coaches in our conference actually have a unique perspective because we were in the Pac-12, and then now we're in the Big 12 together. So I know, last year I had been to Colorado and Utah, but a lot of our team hadn't. It'll be the same kind of going to Arizona this year and things like that. But we're excited to spend a little time in Texas. We'll have to take our boots along, or at least I will. But it's been fun to kind of reunite with the Pac-12 coaches, again, former Pac-12 coaches that are now in this conference, and we're all together. But yeah, nothing beats Morgantown. I'll just stick with that.
Maddie, I wanted to get your opinion of playing for Coach Greeny. Is there anything that Coach does or says that kind of makes you guys laugh, or what is it like playing for Coach?
I was actually thinking about this earlier. Today, one of our assistant coaches, Mike, I think it was Mike, he asked Sarah Pfiffner how old she was, and she said, "Oh, I'm 18." And Jen goes, "Oh, we've been coaching longer than that." And then she just like looked down. But she always jokes about how like this is not her first rodeo. So, we need to listen to her and buy in. Like, believe it or not, she knows what she's doing.
And Coach, this one is for you. For fans who haven't been watching West Virginia closely, how would you describe your coaching style?
Oh man. I think pretty fiery, passionate. I don't like to lose too much. But at the same time, we know this is a building process. We've been working really, really hard just as a program to get out into the community. We had record-breaking camp numbers this year, for youth coming in to Morgantown, and our players did a phenomenal job working camps. So I think for me, we take a lot of pride not only in our day-to-day, playing activities, but involving the community in our program as a whole. We have season tickets on sale for the first time ever this year. We got TerraFlex last year. So it really is not just about the wins and the losses, but building it, like I said, the right way and from the ground up and involving the community. And that's what's so great about West Virginia is West Virginia University is the flagship of our state, and we just, love the support that we get here. So want to get some more people out as well.
Well, that being said, obviously recruiting a huge part of being a coach, and you're out there looking at thousands of young players. What do you specifically hone in on? What's important for you to see if you're going to bring them to your program?
Yeah, for sure. Besides, being great athletes, of course, we want really solid people that, believe in our 5 core values and want to make a difference. I think we have a good 26 class coming in that has some really good talent in it, some good hitters. I know, probably physicality wise, we're not the tallest team right now. But we are trying to just get more physical, more athletic, quicker, doing things like that. So, as we grow this program, we just want to keep recruiting players as good as or better than the person they're maybe going to replace. And so just getting out there and finding people that really want to be the change and, make a name for themselves. They're not just another player that's been through the program, but maybe somebody who helps turn the program around and get us to the NCAA tournament.
Head coach Jen Greeny and outstanding middle blocker Maddie McGath joining us with West Virginia. Thank you so much for taking the time. We look forward to watching you this season, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, coming up, we will be joined by the Iowa State Cyclones women's volleyball. Looking forward to hearing about their season and coming up, what to look forward to. Welcome back to Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. I'm Kristen Kozlowski, joined by former volleyball standouts Alex Jean Glover, Amy Gant. We're now going to get to the Iowa State Cyclones, and joining us is Christy Johnson-Lynch, one of the most respected coaches in the country, entering her 21st season at the helm of Iowa State volleyball with a core group returning, some key additions, and a legacy of tough, competitive teams. The Cyclones are poised for another strong season. Coach, thank you for joining us here today.
Having me.
We're looking forward to talking about your team, where you really haven't had a lot of turnover. You just lost the one libero. So tell us how that continuity, what the team's looking like with your chemistry going into 2025.
Yeah, we do return a ton of talent. It's a great group, a close, tight-knit group. Last year was tough, just injury after injury, and we were so optimistic, and then, had to battle injuries all season. So this team has come together over the spring. We've really focused on our health and had a terrific block of training over the spring. And they worked hard over the summer in the strength and conditioning. And, I really like how they're coming together. I love the returners, the leadership. So we're optimistic.
Well, and looking ahead, Coach, obviously the Big 12, a lot of parity this year, a lot of new faces as well. How do you feel like you having that core group returning will help you as you head into a really tough preseason and conference season as well?
We have a lot of experience out there right now. We have, 3 and 4 year starters that just, as a group have been through a lot together. So I think that experience is going to pay dividends. We have a lot of travel. Our preseason's pretty tough with a lot of travel, and then you get into the Big 12 with, of course, some of those trips and that night after night of competitiveness. So, like I said, I love our leadership. I think we'll be in good position to play well over the long haul. I think with all the travel and the level of the Big 12, I think we'll have the players who can, be ready for it night after night.
Coach, like you said, you have a lot of 3-year and 4-year starters, but last season had a lot of injuries, especially towards the end of the season. How has the energy been in this preseason?
Excellent. They're hungry. It was hard last year. We had to really battle through some difficult things. We had to have players play out of position. We were in every night, it seemed like 4 and 5 sets that were, just points away from winning. And that was hard to go through that. So this group has focused a lot on their health and strength and conditioning, spring and summer, and they're hungry. They don't want last year to repeat itself. So they're pretty determined to challenge for the top of the conference. That's what they talk about, and that's their goal, and really focused on getting back to where we want to be.
One of those experienced players who did go down, unfortunately, last year was your libero in Rachel Van Gorp. And so talk to us about her and where she's at in anchoring the back row. It's so important for her to kind of be one of those main leaders for you. How has she stepped up her game going into this season?
Yeah, Rachel, came in as a freshman last year and was at the libero position, and then, had some concussion stuff going on. And then we needed her to hit eventually. So she played a lot of different roles for us, but has always done whatever the team needs, and is such a great competitor. We're pretty confident we can put her back as a libero this year. I think that's, we feel like that's where she needs to be. That's where she wants to be. And so, not just her, but we have a couple other players that are battling for that position. But Rachel had a great spring. She was healthy. She was super comfortable at libero when we put her there, but also in some other spots defensively. So, she earns that position and becomes our libero. We'll give her a lot of responsibility. She'll pass a lot of the court. We'll funnel the ball to her to allow her to, just touch the ball a lot. And we'll give her as much responsibility as she can handle.
Well, who else are you looking to really take on an extra load? Has anyone impressed you coming into this fall camp that maybe made great strides over the course of the off season?
That list is long. I feel like one player is Maya Duckworth, no question. She had a good season last year, but was also battling some injuries and coming off a shoulder surgery. She had a terrific spring, so she looks as good as she's ever looked and provides a ton of leadership. The 3 that you have up there, freshmen and transfers, I think they all could play a key role for us. Yeah, we had a great spring from everybody. I think Maya's, in that senior spot, ready to go. Morgan Brandt returns as our setter. She's pretty fired up and ready to go. We have depth. We really wanted to shore up our team a little bit this year since we did have so many injuries last year. So we put a lot of depth at every position. I think you're going to see the possibility of a lot of different people contributing.
You've talked about the experience, the depth, but also some of those younger players coming in. How do you kind of balance developing those younger players while also still being able to think about the right now and being able to compete at the highest level?
Right now, especially when you first come in, we'll keep those roles for each of our freshmen pretty limited. We're not going to ask them to do everything right away, but where can they be really good and confident to start out? And then, as they gain confidence, they might get more responsibility. So it might be more court passing or defense. That might be getting the ball more offensively. And certainly as they, go through their career and get experience and get better, we'll give them more and more of that. But all of our freshmen are capable of contributing, but we won't overcomplicate it. We'll keep it real simple and try to keep their role pretty simple and let them kind of settle in and gain some confidence.
Maya Duckworth will be joining us here in just a moment, and you briefly touched on her and what she brings to the court. Can you elaborate a little bit on how important she's been and obviously being with you since she started her career at Iowa State, but her leadership, her experience, and what she brings to the court?
Absolutely. Maya's just an extraordinary human being. She's just a phenomenal person. Probably the most competitive player I've coached in my career, or one of the most competitive players. She's the one that always knows the rules to the drill, always knows the score, will correct the coach if they don't keep the score right. She's just always dialed in, always competing, and just an excellent teammate. So the team responds to that. They really respect her. Obviously, she has a ton of experience. She's basically a 4-year starter for us, coming into her 4th year. So they look to her, and she's an incredible competitor, so talented. So you put that all in the same package of this phenomenal athlete, you got a great player. So we're going to rely on her a lot.
Coaches, you were looking forward to this season and scheduling your preseason and looking into conference. What were your goals and objectives?
We want to be prepared for the Big 12 start. We want to be, by the time those matches roll around, we want to know exactly what we're looking at, where we need to be better, where are our weaknesses. We want to be tested so that by the time we start those matches at the end of September in the Big 12, we have a good idea of where we're at. So I think we hit it. We'll see more in a few weeks after we get going, but we're playing a lot of good teams, a lot of NCAA tournament teams, and I think we'll know a lot about us in a few weeks. I think this will get us ready for Big 12.
Coach, talking about those matches, are there any particular that you're extremely excited to travel to or play and compete against some of the other teams?
Well, the in-state rivals are always a lot of fun. So, we go play at UNI, and that's a great program, a great team. They're coming off a great season, and they'll pack it in. We'll get 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 at that match. So we are looking forward to that. The Iowa rivalry is always huge, so that's a very emotional night. No matter where you play it, it's a huge night for us. And I think all of them, I think will be a lot of fun. I think going to Illinois, that was a team we played in the spring, so it was a cool kind of preview to what that match could be about. So that'll be another good test and a fun tournament towards the end of our preseason.
Well, Christy Johnson-Lynch joining us here on Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. Thank you so much, talking Iowa State volleyball. Best of luck this season for you and your team.
Thank you so much.
All right, ladies, let's get your thoughts really quick on Iowa State and a bit of a down year as we talked, just the 10 wins, 10-18 last season. But as Coach talked about, the injuries, just something you cannot predict and adjusting to that, but returning almost their entire roster.
Yeah, when you think about injuries, you think about a lot of people who feel like they didn't get to leave it all on the court. So I can see them coming right out of the gate soon, early in the preseason, and showing the world what they've got.
Yeah, and I think to that point, it's not fun when you're in it, but man, that next year you're a stronger player. You've got something to play for, so they're all the better for it. I think this is going to be a very, very good team.
The silver lining, right?
Yeah.
Get something out of it, even though there were injuries. Hopefully there are going to be good things to come out of it. Well, one good thing that hopefully is going to come out of it is Maya Duckworth, and she's joining us now via Zoom, a returning leader for the Cyclones, one of the Big 12's rising stars on the outside. Maya has been a steady force at the net and is expected to be a go-to player again this fall. Hello, Maya. Thank you for joining us here today.
Good to be here.
We're excited to talk about your team, get your perspective. Absolutely love talking to your coach. But let's talk about your feel for this team. What's the chemistry right now? What's the vibe for the team going into 2025?
I really just think we're all just super excited to be here. From just the first few days of preseason, it really just feels like everybody just wants to come here and just work as hard as we can every single day at practice. And we're really showing it on the court too. So I'm just really excited. Like, we are just really going hard every day. And the chemistry is just great. Like, we're all hyped every play no matter what. So it's a lot of fun.
Maya, it's your senior season. How are you approaching this year mentally, physically, and emotionally?
Yeah, mentally doing a lot of journaling, a lot of praying. God is with me every time I step on that court. So just starting there. And then, physically, I've been doing rehab. I've been getting stronger in this weight room all through spring. So just taking that and going with it. And I'm just excited. I really don't have very many words to explain how I feel about this season, but just happy and ready to play for my team.
So Maya, coach said you are one of the all-time most competitive people she's ever coached. And would you agree with that? And also, where does that come from?
Yes, I would 100% agree with that. I'm very competitive, like she said. It definitely comes from my parents and having two siblings. We would go on trips for like vacation, and we were playing cards at the table, and me and my brother are trying to beat my parents, and majority of the time we lose, but it teaches you to be competitive for sure. And it really just stems from them and all of that, and I just love to win, I can't lie.
Well, you played a big role in your first 3 seasons there at Iowa State, but what have you been working on in the offseason? I know getting healthy is one of those things, but what have you been focused on in the offseason to take your game another level up for this last season here at Iowa State?
Definitely my serve receive. I feel like if I can get the pass up, then it makes it even easier for my teammates. And easier on me. So definitely that. And also just working on being offensive more, just super offensive, and how I can score in the Big 12 and how I can score in different ways, as well as my block. I'm really excited about that. My defensive block, I have no words. I'm just really excited to get out there and just start blocking people. I can't lie to you.
You talk about some of those skills that you're trying to improve and we're trying to improve in the off season. What would make this senior season successful for you?
I think just everybody on my team going out there and just playing to win every single game and giving it their all every single game. Whether I'm on the court or on the bench, I'm going to be cheering them on no matter what. So if we all can just do that and be with each other, I think that's all it takes.
I think you talked about your defensive block. Sometimes when you've got somewhat of an undersized outside, not that you don't jump out of the gym, but players might think that they can go over you. Does that play into your that competitiveness and that desire to shut people down and not be that undersized outside? Because you certainly take over a match.
Yes, ma'am, 100%. I love just a good old solo block, whether it's especially against the middle. I feel like it's always just fun to get that in that middle's head, because then they're in their head on defense as well, which is really nice. And shutting down a right side is always fun as well. So especially being undersized, I feel like people think like, oh, she's nowhere to be found. And then all of a sudden I come out of nowhere and the ball's on the floor on their side. So.
Maya, you can hear the excitement in your voice just for the senior season, for some of these new skills that you're improving. What is a game, a matchup, or a city that you're super excited for and maybe have circled before even gameplay has started?
I'd say there's a few. I'm not going to name names just because those are for me to keep inside, but there's definitely a few that I'm excited to play against. I've been here for 3 years, so there's a lot of teams where I'm just like, we got to get our get back, to say the least. And so I'm excited.
Let's talk about playing for head coach Johnson Lynch and what it's like to play for her. What's she like off the court as well and on the court?
I have to say, what you get on the court is what you get off the court. There's no difference. She's always just super positive, always there to talk to you, and she's just a great coach, and to say the least. I always feel like if I have any problems, I can go to her for it, and I mean, I really have nothing bad to say. I have no complaints. I've loved playing for her for the past 3 years, and I'm excited to finish my season out here.
Well, 3 years there at Iowa State, you've had the experience of these long seasons. How do you get through physically and mentally? What do you do throughout the course of the year to ensure you're at your best?
100%, yeah. I drink a lot of drip drop and a lot of water. I am prone to cramps, so I got to keep myself on top, as well as using all of the facilities that we have. I mean, we have this new gorgeous facility that we're in right now, and we have so many different things that we're allowed to use. So just using all of those, whether it's Normatex, the ice tub, no matter what, like using our trainers, all of it. And mentally, I do a lot of journaling in the morning and before practice, as well as I do a praying every morning and every night. So just all of that and keeping myself composed, for sure.
You've talked about elevating your game mentally, just through journaling, praying, physically, drip drop, like you just mentioned, and just making sure that your body is in top shape. But who are some of your teammates that you've leaned on through this process, and some of the teammates that you're going to continue to lean on going into this season?
Yeah, I definitely lean on my middle, Pam. She's just, I mean, we're roommates. We've been together for 2 years now. I don't even know anymore. It feels like forever. And she's like a little sister to me. So I definitely lean on her. I lean on my new teammate, Tia. You know, getting to know her throughout the spring, I feel like we mesh very well and we complement each other very well on and off the court. So I really lean on her. And of course, my setter, Morgan. I mean, we've been through it all from freshman year to now. I definitely lean on her as well.
Well, you've been in the Big 12 for a while, and what does it take to be successful in this fairly unique environment, one of the top conferences in the country? What does your team need to do to be able to survive and really take down a lot of these big teams?
I feel like if we go out there every day and just give it our all at every game, I mean, we really can't be mad if we lose and we're giving it our all. If we're not giving it our all and we lose, we can be upset about that. But if we go out there, we step on the court with each other and we play as a team, like as one, and give it everything we have, I feel like that's what it takes at the end of the day. Like, you can do all the preparation on the court, off the court, but if you don't go on that court and play as a team when it counts, then, I mean, you won't go anywhere.
Wrapping up your senior season, personally, are there any accolades that you are just reaching towards, that you are thinking about when you're really getting at it in the gym?
Accolades are just words, in my opinion. If I can't go out there and be a good teammate, then it doesn't mean anything. So as long as I'm going out there and I'm being the best teammate I can be to all of my teammates, that's what really matters to me.
Maya Duckworth joining us on Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. Maya, thank you for taking the time with us today. Best of luck to the Iowa State team this year. We are hoping that you can stay healthy and have a great season this year.
Thank you so much.
All right, ladies, let's get your final thoughts as we're wrapping up our first day of Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. Talk to some incredible coaches, a lot of talent in this league. Amy, what stood out to you maybe as we were going through some of these? I thought that the girls were very well spoken as we talked to some of those players, among other things, but what stood out to you today?
Well, I think the maturity, everyone is focused, they're ready to go. Clearly, it's not just preseason where they start thinking about this season. It is all year long, and they're preparing themselves mentally and physically. We've got so many good players coming in, and I think we talked about the parity in each match. Like every single night, it's going to be a battle, and that's just exciting for fans. It's so great to watch these players compete.
Alex, as we talk to these coaches, a lot of the schedules that we were looking at, boy, are they loaded. Battle tested early. You can tell that that's kind of been a similar theme for each of these teams. How important has that been?
It's so important because they know that the Big 12 schedule is not going to be any easy game on any easy night. So they had to schedule early to make sure that they're battle tested, to give maybe some of those freshmen a little bit of playing time, because we know that some of these schools don't have any transfers, but a lot of them have freshmen coming in that are going to need to adjust to that college level. So they're going to need to get those opportunities early on in an environment that might be a little tougher.
Well, this has been awesome. Fun first day. How about we do it again tomorrow?
Perfect. See you
All
then.
Right. Well, thanks for joining us on Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. We will be back tomorrow to feature the rest of this talented conference. Coverage starts at 2 p.m. Eastern. We will see you tomorrow.
I did some soul searching.
I started praying as to whatever you're doing, just don't take this one.
Challenges come with pain,
There's no other story like it.
but pain will not win.
Your Jayhawks are national champions.
Pursue the dream.
Don't let anything stop you.
If I can make it this far, you can make it even further.